Hey guys, what's up? It's 8-Bit Eric. Now, a little over a year ago, I did a physical Switch collection video. I had about 55 physical Switch games, and it was a long-ass video, and guess what? Now I have probably double that, somewhere around 100 Nintendo Switch games physically, and I figured it was time to do an update video, and this is going to take a long time. So, grab yourself something to drink, something to eat, because we're going to go one by one through each of these babies, talk about them, and let you guys know exactly what my physical Nintendo Switch collection is. Let's do it. First things first, when the Switch first came out, my goal was to get every physical Switch game out there, but now it's next to impossible. Mainly because there's limited run exclusives, super rare games exclusives, strictly limited exclusives, and it just became too much. There's also a lot of official titles, a lot of first-party games that I actually have digitally that I do not have physically. And then there's just some games I have yet to get right now. So we're going to go one by one. Enough with the fucking chit-chat. First one is 1-2 Switch. We already know about this game and how fucking horrible it was. It's basically a tech demo for the Joy-Cons. It's everything that should have been included in a pack-in game and was probably one of the worst initial launch games of the Nintendo Switch. You grab a Joy-Con, you complete mini games by shaking it or waving it or doing certain actions. I mean, in a party setting, I see where it could be fun. However, the fact that it really doesn't have much to expand upon once you play it through really doesn't leave a lot of replayability unless you have some kind of hard-on for doing stupid stuff. But then again, I like Nintendo. So that tells it for you there. But yeah, 1-2 Switch definitely wasn't worth being a full-priced launch game for the Nintendo Switch. Again, basically just a whole bunch of different ways that you can use the Joy-Con to play several weird mini games. If you haven't played it yet, I don't think you're missing out on much, to be quite honest. Next up, we have Axial Verge, which is basically an indie version of Super Metroid. This is a great game. I had a lot of fun playing it when it first came out a few years ago on Steam. Then I got it on the Wii U. And then, when it finally came out on the Switch, I knew I had to have it. I enjoy Axial Verge so much that I actually have it digitally and physically. I know, right? Moneybags? Yeah, right. Anyways, very cool game. It plays just like Metroid, as I mentioned. You explore, you gather upgrades to unlock and reach areas that you couldn't get initially in the game. It's a lot of cool graphics and stuff. You play as a scientist who basically lost his memory, and you have to figure out exactly what happened in your lab and the whole area. And there's like glitches and all sorts of cool music and boss fights and everything. It's actually one of the best indie games of all time. And even though it is a little bit older, I think it's held up. I mean, somebody has to make Metroid if Nintendo ain't going to be doing it, right? And that's what Axial Verge was. And it's definitely worth a buy. It's not too bad on the price either. You can get it fairly cheap, brand new or used at GameStop. So I recommend that you do check out Axial Verge. Next up, we have Azure Striker Gunvolt Striker Pack. Say that 4 times fast. This is actually a port of both 3DS games that came out for Striker Gunvolt. It's made by Inti Creates. It has a huge anime Mega Man type of vibe to it. The sprites and everything are pretty big because I guess the game was initially optimized for a smaller screen, the 3DS. It's a lot of bang for your buck as far as content goes. If you're into old school platformers that play a lot like Mega Man, then you will like Azure Striker Gunvolt. I didn't experience it on the 3DS. My first go around playing this game was on the Nintendo Switch version. I liked it. I thought it was a lot of fun. It kept my interest in basically buying 2 games for the price of 1. It's a no-brainer. And it is actually rather cheap. You can get it used at GameStop for like less than 30 bucks, 25 bucks, somewhere around there. So I definitely do recommend you check out Azure Striker Gunvolt. Now, I am a big fan of Telltale games, Back to the Future, Walking Dead, masterpieces. I never played the Batman Telltale series game until I got it on the Nintendo Switch. This actually went on sale really, really quick. I saw a lot of mixed reviews, not just for the Switch version, but also the PS4 and Xbox and PC versions. This one doesn't have as much, I guess, action-oriented gameplay as some of the other games like The Walking Dead do. This one's a lot of quick-time events. However, I personally did enjoy it. I'm a big Batman fan. I finally got around to checking this game out. It was on my backlog for quite some time. I enjoyed the story, the voice acting, hit or miss a little bit. I would have preferred Kevin Conroy to be Batman in this game, but he wasn't. But the guys that they did have and the story and the plot and everything, I enjoyed it. It was a different take on the origin of Bruce Wayne and Batman, but it kind of left me wanting more. And actually, there is a digital sequel to this game available on the Nintendo Switch. I would like for it to come out physically like this one did. I had to get it. I got it really cheap. These Telltale games always go on sale rather fast, and I actually enjoyed this game a lot. I'm a sucker for these types of games. Bayonetta 2. This is actually one that was on the Wii U. This is one of the infamous Wii U ports that people always complain about, saying that we don't need more Wii U ports. We need new games. Well, along with this was the announcement of Bayonetta 3 coming out. This one comes with both Bayonetta 1 and 2. Bayonetta 1 was a digital code that came with this game. I think Europe actually has a 2-pack that has both of the games included in it physically. I didn't really get to play much of Bayonetta 2 when it was on the Wii U, so I wanted to go ahead and double dip on it once I got it on the Nintendo Switch. I like Bayonetta. I can see where the appeal is of both Part 1 and 2. However, I'm not really the biggest Bayonetta fan out there, so I just can't really get behind it. I do know that it's a really acclaimed series that, big enough to where they brought her over onto Smash Brothers, and there's even rumors of her going to be on Mortal Kombat 11 as of this video time, so who knows? Maybe it happens. There's a lot of hype for Bayonetta 3. Platinum Games always makes great stuff, so I'm not saying this is a bad game. I just said I really couldn't get into it, but it is one of the best single-player experiences on the Nintendo Switch. Has a lot of action in it, a lot of gore, a lot of sexiness, a lot of sex appeal. So if that's your thing, you need a waifu, get Bayonetta 2. And it comes with 2 games. Alright, so Ben 10. Don't ask me why I got this. Probably because I got it buy 2, get 1 free on pre-owned at GameStop. It was a cheap game, but I actually was a little surprised once I took the time to play it. It's a beat-em-up game that has you playing as characters from the video game. Ben 10 has like 10 different alien forms. You explore the levels, defeating enemy aliens and bosses, and I'm not familiar with the series. I know this is like a reboot of the original, cartoon show. I'm not too familiar with Ben 10. I just know that it's probably a very popular kids show if it was being ported over to the Nintendo Switch. I kind of had fun playing Ben 10. I'm not going to say it's one of the best games out there, but it surprised me for being a basic beat 'em up. Had decent cel-shaded graphics, decent tunes, and it played well. The controls were not too bad, actually. In fact, I didn't have too much to complain about this game other than it just gets repetitive, but that's with any kind of beat 'em up game. Now, speaking of beat 'em up games, I have the Capcom Belt Action Collection. This is an import that I got from PlayAsia. It does have English support, and in America, this came out digitally as the Capcom Beat 'em Up Bundle. Now, this has Final Fight, Captain Commando, Knights of the Round, a lot of classic arcade Capcom Beat 'em Up games, and it's actually rather cheap to get it physically. I paid like $31 shipped from Japan, and what's awesome is it has English support, so that sold me on it. Why waste my time getting it digitally if I could just get it physically and have the English language on it? And it has a really cool Japanese cover as well. These are some great games. One good thing that I like about the Nintendo Switch is the ability to play a lot of these arcade perfect ports, a lot of these compilations, of classic games that are just coming over. Sure, there's no virtual console, but a lot of people are bringing some of the classic retro hits of yesteryear, and this is actually one of the best compilation games out there on the Nintendo Switch right now. If you're a fan of beat 'em ups in general, which I am, go ahead and do yourself a favor and grab this. It's available on PlayAsia physically, like I said. So, Belt Action Collection. It's a good. Now, another kid's game. Yeah, I reviewed this a couple years ago, actually, when the Switch didn't have too many games out. Cars 3, Driven to Win. I've never seen a Cars game or movie or Cars anything before. This was my first Cars experience. I went in wanting to check it out, see if it was a decent car racer, and it actually wasn't too bad. Now, I said the single player campaign kind of left a little to be desired, which was true. It kind of left me wanting more. But then, that's when I gave multiplayer a chance. And I gotta say, if you're looking for a game that you could sink your teeth into with your kid, or if just for some reason you're a bunch of adults that want to play a racing game that ain't Mario Kart, then Cars 3 Driven to Win is a game that you can actually have a pretty good local multiplayer experience with. There's a variety of different modes and gameplay and everything that gives you enough content if you want to play with your friends. So Cars 3 might look like shovelware initially. Maybe you're just like, oh, it's a licensed kids game, I don't want to bother with that, but it just might surprise you. I had to give it a second look to really appreciate it. So, not too bad. Now we have another kids game. We have Cartoon Network Battle Crashers, and this is another beat 'em up game that has Cartoon Network characters. Now, what this one does, it has like Steven Universe, Regular Show, Adventure Time, and a couple other characters from Cartoon Network, all combined like into some kind of weird multiverse where all their universes clash together. They have to mend them back together and save the day. And for the most part, it's an okay game. It's a little bland though. There's not too much in voice acting. The stages kind of look a little, I guess, not detailed in the backgrounds. The enemy selection, of course, with any kind of beat 'em up just gets really repetitive. And the levels are actually pretty long. There's a little bit of backtracking. It's not bad, but it's not excellent either. I think they could have did a lot more with potential of some of these popular cartoons, especially like Adventure Time. They could have did a lot with that. They could have did a lot with Regular Show as well. I mean, some of these are some of the most hilarious personalities on Cartoon Network, and it seems that they just kind of phoned it in when they made this game. So it was a little disappointing, to be honest. Now, the Switch actually brought a lot of indie games, new and old, to the forefront, and Cave Story Plus actually was one of the biggest examples of this. This is a beloved game, came out several years ago, and it seems that it just gets put on every single thing, and I never experienced it before. I had a lot of fun checking Cave Story Plus for the first time, and this is one of those Nicholas titles that has a lot of extras inside of it. So you get a good presentation, you get a manual, a keychain, and a soundtrack. A little soundtrack CD. Very nice. You get a lot of bang for your buck with a lot of these Nicholas games, and this was like one of the first ones they did, besides Binding of Isaac. And I really enjoyed the amount of unlockables and content on here. It's like all the DLC from all the different versions of Cave Story are included on here. And I know a lot of people are like, man, Cave Story is a really, really old game. But if you haven't experienced it and you have a Nintendo Switch, there's absolutely no reason at all why you shouldn't check out Cave Story. I think it's a very good story-driven single-player experience game that has a lot of message behind it and solid gameplay, solid presentation, and charming characters, to be quite honest. So Cave Story Plus is definitely a good and one of the better indie games available on the Nintendo Switch. Alright, so speaking of good indie titles, Cosmic Star Heroine. It's an RPG game that I actually gotten to check out recently. I have this also digitally, and I bought it physically when Limited Runs came out with a physical version of it. I actually rather enjoyed it. It seems like it's a solid RPG title, maybe a little too RPG Maker-ish, but when you get a lot of these indie titles, there's a lot of personality and characters and lots of development and, you know, all that sentimental, sappy stuff that you get with a lot of these games. And this one actually takes place like in space, has different, you know, themes and things like that, and thought it was pretty cool. You play as a undercover agent, basically, that's part of like some kind of agency, and there's some kind of conspiracy and things like that. If you're into RPGs, this is actually a really good, underrated RPG that I feel missed the radar. Like, if I wouldn't have given this game a shot, I probably would have never heard of it. And, I just, on a whim, decided to give it a good look. And I was so impressed that I bought it physically. Again, back with compilations, some of the greatest games of yesteryear. We got Crash Insane Trilogy. Yeah, this was on PS4 and Xbox One as well. Made its way to the Switch. A lot of fun. Crash Bandicoot 1, 2, and 3 on the fucking go. That's enough to have sold me on this. As soon as I saw that it was getting ported over to the Switch, I actually bought it again because I do have it for PS4. So, has all 3 of the original PS1 titles for Crash Bandicoot with a remastered look. Updated graphics, additional features. You can play as different characters in the original games, which is nice. And there's new animations on, different three brand new full games, like over 100 plus levels. So there's a lot of content, and it's cheap. It's like $30 for Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, and it's a classic, great game. So why not just get it? Disgaea V. I still don't know how to pronounce this thing. I reviewed it. And when I reviewed it, I had the import version because it wasn't out in America for a long time. I was thirsty for Switch games, so I ported it over, and guess what? It has English support. And at the time, I was playing a game that nobody else could in North America unless they imported it. So I was glad that I got it. It's actually cheap in price now in North America, and I was impressed. I wasn't too familiar with this series. Tactical strategy, RPG types of games are not really my cup of tea, but I did have a lot of fun playing Disgaea 5, and it had a quirky little JRPG look to it, which I'm not a big fan of anime either, but the humor and the overall story and gameplay of this game actually kept my attention enough to where I played through it for quite a bit. And I mean, I was desperate for Switch games at the time. There was that first initial 6 to 9 months where the Switch really didn't have that many titles, and I was importing them at the time because I just wanted to play some games, and I'm glad I took a chance on Disgaea 5. Now, Doom. When I first heard this was being ported over to the Nintendo Switch, I was like, fuck. Is it even going to run good? Is it going to be worth getting? I never played it when it first came out on PC, PS4, all the other platforms. So when it came to the Switch, I was like, please be good. And guess what? It's fucking fantastic. This was a really good port. I think the people that ported it over had a great time. Panic Button, I want to say, helped bring it over to the Nintendo Switch. It runs great, and multiplayer is even a lot of fun, and it's scary. This game scares the living crap out of me, and that's what Doom is about. People are always like, oh, Nintendo is for kids. Why is Doom coming over? It's not going to run. It's not going to be worth a crap. And we actually got a decent port of Doom. Sure, it's scaled down a little bit, but you really can't tell unless you're being really nitpicky and you'd rather play it in 4K and all that bullshit. But Doom on the Switch, this is a must-own. If you do not have this in your Switch collection yet, you're fucking up, and you need to go ahead and get it. For real. Highly recommended. It's gory, it's violent, it has a dark atmosphere, it's a lot of fun, there's a lot of big guns, lots of explosions. If you haven't played it yet, because you were like me and you don't really play PlayStation 4 at the time, and you missed out on it and you don't own it yet, or even if you do own it on the other systems, get it anyway. It's that fucking good. Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. I've played quite a bit of this game. I still haven't done an official review of it, but I do like it. If you're looking for, I guess, a massive multiplayer game for the Nintendo Switch, which I really wouldn't label this as it, but if you're looking for a game where you can connect with a lot of people in a lobby, team up, do some missions, level up, and just kind of kill some time, it's not too bad. I would say it's not the best version of this game. It ran a little bit wonky at times on the Nintendo Switch, but I may not be an anime fan, but I am a Dragon Ball fan, and I usually get Dragon Ball games for the most part whenever I can, and I wanted to give Xenoverse 2 a try. This was an earlier Nintendo Switch title in the initial first year. I was excited. I wanted to see how it run, and overall, it was okay. It's an okay game. I like the plot. The plot has to deal with, you know, history of the Dragon Ball universe being changed because of criminals that are able to go back in time and stuff, and you're part of like a time force with Trunks, and you have to make sure that things run properly and that the you know, the timeline doesn't become changed and corrupt. So it has a cool little original story for the most part. I liked it, but I like Dragon Ball, so I might be a little bit biased on it. The graphics, of course, pretty great. Voice acting's good. It's worth the look. I think it actually is pretty cheap in price right now. And yeah, so if you haven't played it, you don't own it on any of the consoles, then yeah, sure. Go ahead and grab it and pick it up. Now we have Dragon Quest Builders, another port. This game came late to the Switch after it was on other consoles for quite some time. You play as a character that basically has to rebuild the world after some kind of huge explosion happens and literally kills everybody. It's block-based. It's not exactly Minecraft, not exactly Legend of Zelda, not exactly Dragon Quest, but it has a lot of fun. There's a plot with the Dragon Lord, of course, that basically destroyed the kingdom, and you go from island to island, rebuilding the kingdom brick by brick, block by block. There's a lot of farming, a lot of grinding, a lot of unlocking different stuff, hunting, mining, stuff like that. So it's not too bad. You collect materials, you craft recipes. If you're into crafting and stuff like that, this game's a lot of fun. I was easily impressed with it. A sequel's coming out, so I guess it did good enough, right, for Square to support a sequel on the Nintendo Switch. It has its charm. I can really get behind games like this. Dragon Quest Builders impressed me. Thought it ran pretty good. I can't compare it to how it ran from this version or the PS4 version, but I do know for a solid single-player experience on the Nintendo Switch, then Dragon Quest Builders is where it's at, and I'm looking forward to trying out the sequel. Speaking of Dragon Quest, we got Dragon Quest Heroes 1 and 2. Still hasn't come over to North America. I got this one in the launch year again, another import. I was hoping it would have had English support, but I was disappointed. Not a single ounce of English support on this one. So I basically played blind. I did look up walkthroughs for the games for when it was on PlayStation 4 and all that, and I just played along while I watched YouTube videos. This plays a lot like the Fire Emblem Warriors, the Hyrule Warriors, the Warriors Orochi, the Dynasty Warriors games. It plays a lot like those, but a Dragon Quest version. So that was really neat. There's a lot of cool graphics, a lot of cool cel shading in here. I love the artwork by Akira Toriyama. Again, a Dragon Ball guy. So Dragon Quest Heroes 1 and 2, you're paying for 2 games. It's sad that it's not over here in North America yet, and the only way to really get it physically is to import it and know Japanese or follow along on walkthroughs. Me, at the time, again, I was desperate to try out all the games, especially because region-free on the Nintendo Switch. I had a lot of fun for what it was. It's not out on North America yet. Maybe one day it will be. Now, Farming Simulator Nintendo Switch Edition is the only physical Switch game that I've gotten a legitimately review copy for. They sent me this. Terminals wanted to send me a review copy of Farming Simulator, and I said, you know what? Why not? And I got it quite early. It wasn't out in stores yet when I first got it. I heard so much about farming simulating games. I hear so much about them. I saw even on Cinemassacre, Mike Matei and Ryan Schott did a review in a cornfield. There's no cornfields in Texas at the time, so I didn't get to do my review in a cornfield. But I guess for what it was, it's not too bad. It does simulate the farming experience pretty good. Everything from having to actually hitch the trailers and the devices to your tractor. It's kind of a little pain in the ass, to be quite honest. Kind of tedious when you're going through a big field of wheat or a crop and you have to go row by row and try to do it perfectly. It simulates it maybe a little too good. Most of the time I was just fucking around in the town and just trying to see if I can make wrecks and do, you know, fuck shit up basically. And that was how I spent most of my time. I didn't take the time serious at all. I was drawing dicks in my crops and stuff like that. Farming Simulator is not my cup of tea, to be quite honest. But yeah, I did a review of it, and if you want to check it out, feel free to. Fate Extella, the Umbrel Star. Fate Extella series I'm not too familiar with. This is the only one I've played. I've been told that there's a huge popular fan base of it. All I know is what I know from this game, which it plays a lot like the Dynasty Warrior games, where you go to different areas on the map. You have to take control of different segments, like Section A, Section C. And basically, you just defend those areas until the time runs out. I don't know what it is about these types of games. I like them. I like these hack and slash type of Dynasty Warrior games and stuff. And that's one of the main things that did draw me to Fate Extella. Plus, it was an early Nintendo Switch physical release. And at the time, I was trying to get all the physical games that I can. Even games that I actually had no idea what they were about. Again, I'm not a big anime guy. I haven't watched anything about this. I don't know anything about the series. I just know that it was a game that, at the time, I picked up, took a chance on, and actually was pretty impressed for somebody that has no concerns or any kind of interest in anime. I had a lot of fun checking Fate Extella, the Emerald Star, out. So another indie game. This is a limited run physical. So I've been getting addicted to collecting these limited run games. This is Flinthook. Heard a lot of great things about it. I actually have yet to play it, but it looks pretty cool. It says, become the galaxy's greatest pirate, hook into action, zip around with your mighty hook shot. And yeah, so looks like it has a lot of cool little features. It looks like it's a neat little indie game. I'm into shit like this. I actually was recommended this by a lot of people. And when I saw that it was available again at PAX South, because I missed out on the first pre-order, I bought it right then and there. Heard so many great things about Flinthook, and I wanted the limited run edition of the game, so I'm glad I picked it up. Now, EA Sports FIFA. FIFA's okay. I'm not a big soccer fan, but I do like playing FIFA games with my friends. I got the FIFA 18. It was actually on sale on Amazon a couple times this past year, so I snagged it for as low as I could. There was no way I was going to pay full price for a sports game that I was barely going to touch, and to be honest, I barely have touched it anyway. It's a fun multiplayer game. I'm not really into soccer. I really don't know the rules, but it is a lot of fun when you have a lot of people to play with and you just kind of slide into each other and kick into each other and things like that. So it's FIFA. I know it has a big following and stuff. Me, in real life, I really could care less about soccer, or football, as they would call it. But yeah. Another Dynasty Warriors Orochi / Hyrule Warriors type of game. Fire Emblem Warriors. This is Fire Emblem Warriors, so it's a Warriors game with Fire Emblem characters. I've played a little bit of it. I'm not really into Fire Emblem, but for what this game was, plays like all the other types of games are the same thing, where you go to a certain area on the map, you have to defend it within a certain amount of time. I liked it. This is probably my only Fire Emblem experience, to be quite honest, besides playing as the characters on Smash Brothers. So I don't know how much of an insight it gives you to the actual, series, besides being able to play as a variety of different characters from the games. But I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. I got the basic standard edition. I know there was a fancy collector's edition. That wasn't for me. I got this game, played through it. The gameplay style and the, graphics, enough for me. I liked it. I'm not a Fire Emblem fan, though. We have another limited run game, Puri. Another game I have not played, but I'm a sucker. Soon as limited run has these games come out for pre-order, I get them. It looks cool. It says that it has the definitive edition, which includes Fury and its DLC, One More Fight. Looks really cool. Looks like it's an overhead type of roguelike game. I could be mistaken. Again, I haven't checked it out. I don't even think I have this digitally, so this is a brand new experience for me. It's an indie title, of course, and that's what a lot of these limited run games are. It's something that is definitely on my Switch backlog, and I do plan on taking a look at it ASAP. Now, last year, when this game came out, it caught me by surprise. Golf Story. It's an RPG game that is golf-themed. When it came out physically, I had to double dip and buy it again. Again, it's another limited run game. I had to get it. I had so much fun checking out Golf Story the first time when I reviewed it. It reminded me a little bit of Earthbound because of the modern setting and, little kids fighting weird things and stuff. But a lot of the gameplay is centered around the idea of golf, which I never thought would be interesting, but it was. And it's pretty neat. For the most part, if you haven't played it, it's not like anything else on the Nintendo Switch. Has a lot of charm, a lot of je ne sais quoi. The graphics are retro neo, as in they're inspired by something like Earthbound, but it's, you know, an indie game made from today, and it's honestly has a lot of heart behind this game, and I do recommend you check it out. And you can also get this at Best Buy physically as well, so don't worry if you missed out the pre-order on Limited Run's website. You can get it from Best Buy with a different cover. So it's a good. You need to go check this game out. Has Been Heroes. Probably one of the cheapest Nintendo Switch games out there. You can get it pre-owned for about $10 or less at GameStop. It is a GameStop exclusive title. It has a different variant cover now. It's like a bluish purple cover. This was the launch title. This actually was one of the launch titles. This is the launch variant. It's a roguelike game where each character is like in a lane of play. You can rotate and use your powers and time yourself depending on what enemies are at that time, you know, coming up on you at that time. When you die, you have to start over. And honestly, it is very hard. It's a very difficult game. I burned myself on this one very quickly because at the time there was only like 5 games available to play on the Nintendo Switch. So I spent most of my early time with the Switch playing this game, and its difficulty actually kind of burned me out rather quickly. There's some people that really do like this game. This game kind of crashed and burned rather quickly, and I think it was just because a lot of people didn't like the difficulty. It has its moments, it has its perks, it has its, you know, graphics and stuff, but honestly, it's one of the hardest Switch games out there, and I think that turned off a lot of people. Now, this actually is another Wii U port, and the Wii U version was upwards of like $90 at one point. Came out at the end of the Wii U cycle. It's Hello Kitty Cruisers. Yeah. Why did I get this? Because I have it on the Wii U already, but I wanted to play it on the Switch. I'm a Switch fanboy, and I really don't like Hello Kitty, but my nieces do, and they had a lot of fun actually playing this. So, this is a game that I got for the kids. I know somebody right there is shaking their head watching this like, no, Eric, you got it because you like Hello Kitty. It's a racing game. It ain't no Mario Kart, though. The graphics are nice, colorful, cel shading type of look. However, the gameplay is very plain Jane, and I'm glad I didn't ever pay $80 for this freaking title because that definitely would have been overpriced. I paid about $25 for this on the Switch. It's not hard to find like the Wii U version was, so it's I wouldn't pay more than just pre-owned price for this game. There's not a lot of options, not a lot of online options. It's actually one of the worst racers on the Nintendo Switch at this time. There's plenty better racers out there, including cars. So, unless you like Hello Kitty, I can't recommend this one. Now, this is a super rare game, which is kind of like limited run games. This actually is the first one. They sent this one to me to share with the guys on the channel, and I was excited. At the time, I was like, wow, so there's companies printing out limited edition of games. Now, Human Fall Flat is just totally crazy. You play as like a white little like stocky bean looking character that has to like solve puzzles to progress from level to level, and then you like just fall down to the next level. It's a puzzle game. So it's kind of innovative. It's one of those quirky indie games that just kind of has this weird humor personality to it that really sticks it to you when you play it. You get really addicted to it. You can't get enough. And I'm glad that they actually made a physical version of this game because I think it's one of the funnest indie games out there to watch people play and to experience. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I do actually enjoy Human Fall Flat quite a bit. We got Hyrule Warriors. This was a Wii U port. I have this on the Wii U, but the Switch version is the definitive version. It has all the DLC from both, I believe, 3DS and Wii U games. Tons of Legend of Zelda characters. Again, it's one of those games like the Dynasty Warriors series where you hack and slash your way through countless amounts of enemies to gain control of certain areas on the map. It's Legend of Zelda. That's why I really liked it. I was a big fan of the Wii U version, and I was excited to see it coming over to the Nintendo Switch. It took me a while to get this, only because it is a full first-party retailed Switch game, which means it's never going to go below $56 pre-owned or $59 brand new at any place. So I waited until I got it for Christmas from my older brother this year. But yeah, It's Legend of Zelda, which is my favorite series of all time, and Dynasty Warriors moment, gameplay type of element. So it presents a unique take on a series that I really like, and it has characters with big boobs in it. So, you don't see boobs too often in Legend of Zelda. Am I right? Now, I am Setsuna. This game caught me by surprise. I talked about it last time. I reviewed it. I cannot give enough high praise for this. It did not come out physically in the United States, which is why I imported it. And I'm happy I did because it has full English support on here. It has English language. It even got an update eventually where you can do PvP with people. But this game caught me off guard. It's a pretty linear RPG. Plays like a real old school style type of turn-based RPG. But I loved it. I had a lot of fun checking it out, exploring. It was short. I beat it in one sitting, and I thought it was very impressive. It has a very sad story to it, in my opinion, but it was a very memorable experience for me. And this is coming from somebody that's not really into RPGs. I didn't get the sequel, Lost Sphear. I missed out on that pre-order. I missed out on it. I didn't get it. I wish I did. That's one of my biggest regrets because I enjoyed this game that much. So hopefully one day I can get Lost Sphear. Now another Nicholas game, which is an indie title. This is Itll Do 2. I played Itll Do on the Nintendo Wii U. Had a lot of fun with it. It's like a Zelda clone. This one's a sequel to it, and just like the Nicholas games, it comes with a lot of little goodies inside. So these Nicholas games are packaged really well on the Nintendo Switch. This one's a lot bigger of a game than the original, which I loved a lot. Again, I was happy to see a sequel come out and in physical form, and it's actually very easy to find. So if you don't have It'll Do 2, I recommend you give it a shot. If you like Zelda, you'll like It'll Do. This one has a lot of homage to it, a lot of parody, a lot of humor that is tongue-in-cheek to series like Zelda and other adventure games. You won't be disappointed with it. It's a good. This is a good game. Trust me. Now the next 3 games, you're going to laugh at me, but I like them. I like to play with them. I've even streamed in my underwear doing Just Dance. But I have Just Dance 2017, Just Dance 2018, and Just Dance 2019. And why do I have so many Just Dance games on the Nintendo Switch? Well, for one, I really like them. I fucking love Just Dance, and I know it's a running joke between me and my gamer buddies. I was gonna say gamer buddies, but it's a running joke. I always say, oh man, I gotta get that new Just Dance game, which I do. And what's cool with the Nintendo Switch version is you can play using your phone. You don't have to have a Joy-Con, and it allows a lot more people to play. But the main reason is I play with my nieces who are very young. They're 4 and 6 years old, and they can't get enough of these games. And it's good quality time that I spend with both of them. So all 3 Just Dance games on the Nintendo Switch. Go ahead and hate. Alright, so now I have 2 copies of Katamari Damacy Reroll. I have a Japanese version that I pre-ordered from Play Asia because the GameStop version, the English version, North America was GameStop exclusive. It sold out rather quickly. People were reselling this sucker for over $100. Didn't think I was ever going to get it, but it managed to get a restock. So I ordered this one first, and after this one was on the way, I saw that GameStop restocked them, and I bought it. Do I like Katamari Damacy? To be honest, it's zany, it's wacky, looks like a lot of fun. It reminds me of WarioWare games, but it's not my cup of tea. A lot of people like it. You roll around all the junk on the stages to make a big, huge Katamari ball, and then you proceed to the next level. Me, I kind of wish I didn't have 2 different copies of it, but now I'm stuck, and I guess, why not, right? You don't know if this sucker's going to go back to 100, and you don't know if the import version's ever going to even increase either, so I got both of them. Sue me. Next up, Kingdom New Lands. This game caught my attention when I reviewed it. I got it digitally on the Nintendo Switch, and when it came out physically from Limited Run, I knew I had to have this bad boy. I got it when I saw it at PAX South because I missed out on the pre-order. Bought it. Now, this is a game where you control a character on a horse, either a king or queen. and you rebuild a kingdom. You build up, it's like a tower defense game. So you build up walls, towers, catapults. You make sure that your villagers are safe from orcs and goblins and different monsters. And then at certain points in the game, you proceed over to a new island and you develop a new kingdom, and you rinse and repeat with each area of the map becoming a little bit harder. I like types of games like these. And Kingdom New Lands actually had, that old school retro neo type of vibe and just was a good time killer for me. So I went ahead and got it physically, and I really enjoyed it. I think it's a neat little indie game. Next up, we got the pink puffball himself, Kirby Star Allies. I reviewed it. I honestly was a little bit disappointed. I'm not really a Kirby guy, to be quite honest. Go ahead and hate me for that. Kirby's okay, but the games for the most part just seems like they make one every fucking year, and they're not really much different than, just graphics, slight graphics. Maybe Yarn one of these days, or one of these games it's like Yarn or some kind of crap. It's like the Yoshi games. They make Yoshi games left and right. They make Kirby games left and right. Surprised they haven't made a Yoshi Kirby mashup. But I mean, if you like Kirby, you like a solid little platforming game that has a lot of charm and cuteness, then Kirby's worth getting. To me, it just played it too safe. It was a little underwhelming. It didn't feel like it hit me enough in the gut and impressed me. It's not a bad game by any means. I was just expecting a lot more. Now, Rockstar's only game on the Nintendo Switch, I was hoping by this point in time we would have at least gotten a port of Bully or GTA 5, but we haven't. I was hoping that if this sold good, Rockstar would have supported the Nintendo Switch a lot more. For whatever reason, this is the only one that brought out, and it came out alongside the Xbox and PS4 versions as well. I liked it. I never played it before in the past. This was my first go around with LA Noire. I like the whole, 1940s Los Angeles scene with, cops and robbers, Dick Tracy style, solving murder cases, things like that. I love driving around. I like everything about this time period in America, and this game caught everything perfect. The music, the atmosphere, the way the characters act, the dialogue. I was impressed with it. Call me easy to be impressed, but now that it's a very cheap game, this game you can get for under $20, I think you need to grab it. And now the bottom of this stack, so I did it. I got one stack done. We got Lego City Undercover. This was a Wii U port. I have it on the Wii U. I think the Switch version performs a lot better. The loading times aren't as long. It doesn't seem like it skips as much frames as the Wii U version. I didn't really play the Wii U version. That's how bad I didn't like the way it performed. But I did play the heck out of the Switch version. I like the characters in it. I like the humor in Lego games. This one plays just like all the other ones, except it's a cop-based city game. It's kind of like GTA Lego. And it's a lot of fun. I don't think Lego games are just for kids. This one I really, really enjoy, and I'm glad that I gave it a second go-around. It was a very early title on the Nintendo Switch, actually, so I picked it up as soon as possible, played my ass off with it, and I had a lot of fun. I think it's a must-play. Alright, so next up, we got Lego Marvel Super Heroes 2 Deluxe Edition. This one came with like a little mini figurine and early access to some of the DLC content that was to be released future. It's a Marvel game. Lego Marvel. So it's really cool. You get to play as, the superheroes, the Avengers, various characters like that. And then there's also a good assortment of villains. Plays just like all the other Lego games, but Marvel characters this time. A lot of quirkiness and stuff. I like Lego. So, it may be for kids, but who does not want to play with Lego Marvel superheroes? We got Lego Worlds. This one's more like a crafting and building one. Akin to Minecraft. Probably not as good, though. You're able to, collect vehicles, minifigures, craft your own, special worlds and stuff, explore, and all that good jazz. It's an open world, creative sandbox type of game. However, it's not as good as Minecraft. I know there's a lot of comparisons between the two. Now we got Lumo. This one is kind of a neat little game. It's like a little isometric puzzler adventure type of game. You play as this cute little character that kind of looks like something out of like an anime or Final Fantasy or something. It reminds me a lot of one of those old school PC or NES games, Solomon's Key and stuff like that, where you kind of have like a weird 3D effect and you have to solve you know, how to escape the rooms and stuff. So it has an old school charm and feel to it, and not enough people actually talk about this game. It's not bad. It's not bad. I think this is a game that actually flies under the radar a little bit when people talk about Switch games. Now, Mario Rabbids, when this game was first announced, I lost my shit. It literally came out of my butthole and went away and never came back. Who would have thought the Mario Brothers series and the Rabbids series would just come together and have such a great title? It's a tactical RPG type of game. If you have not played it, it's one of the best Switch exclusives out there. You are not doing yourself a favor by not checking out Mario and Rabbids. And I think there's even like a deluxe edition that has all the DLC and extras added on top of it. I got the Pixel Pack, which is kind of like the standard edition. There's like, the story's awesome. Somehow the worlds get crossed over. You explore, you get a team of like Rabbid Peach and Rabbid Luigi and Mario and stuff. And there's some good boss fights. And it has a lot of personality to it. And just both worlds actually really fit. This is a must own on the Nintendo Switch. This is a must own on the Nintendo Switch. Highly recommended. If you do not have it in your collection, you're doing yourself an injustice. Get it. Another Mario game. We got a bunch of Mario games on the Switch. Mario Tennis Aces. This is a sports game. A Mario sports game. It has a good story mode campaign. It's a lot of fun to play with somebody as well. Mario just fits good into anything. They can make a Mario sports game of anything, and it just fits. It translates so well. And this one, it came out this last summer. Had a lot of fun. They're actually doing a lot of updates to it still. They had a lot of additional characters and playable arenas and things of that are popping up, and it's a lot of fun. I'm not really into sports games, but Mario Tennis presented a pretty good little story mode that had a lot of, you know, Mario charm and everything to it, so it is a must own. I think this is one of the better games out there on the Switch, and of course, because it's a Mario game. Next up, we got Mega Man Legacy 1 and 2. This is basically all the original Mega Man games from the NES days. Plus 7, 8, 9, and 10. So it's another way of being able to play retro-styled games on your Nintendo Switch. Solves the issue of not having a virtual console. You know, Capcom went ahead and just threw all of the classic Mega Man games and the more recent ones that are a little bit more obscure. They also have the X collection. I don't have it. I just have Mega Man X Legacy 1. I just have Mega Man Legacy 1 and 2. And, you know, to be honest, all these games are classic. It's cheaper to buy this than play all the ones on the classic NES plastic anyway, right? Mercenary Kings Reloaded, Definitive Edition, Reloaded Edition, whatever you want to call it. It is a limited run game. Another indie game that I missed out on. I didn't get to play it. I have not played it. It looks pretty cool. It's a 2D action game where you play as like warriors for hire and everything. I've heard great fucking things about it. This is indeed on my Switch backlog. I'm looking forward to checking it out. I'm a sucker. It was the second limited run game produced. I missed it, and again, this was one that I picked up at PAX South just because I got that limited run bug where I want to get all the limited run games. So yeah, Mercenary Kings, and it looks like it's a load of fun. Now, this is Spelunker. This was a title that took a while to come to North America. It did not come out physically in the United States, though. It's only in the eShop. Again, I had that import bug going where I wanted to get some of these titles that weren't over to the Switch in America yet, and I hoped that they had English support. This one unfortunately didn't. I don't know if they released an update for English support on it or not. However, it's easy to pick up and play, and you can play online with your friends and stuff. It's a party game. It plays just like classic Spelunker, so once you get past the menus, it's easy to understand and everything, and I just wanted it physically. It's not out in the United States physically. I wanted it physically, and that's why I got it at the time. It was a very early Nintendo Switch release title, and I just had to have it. Now we got Minecraft Story Mode, the complete adventure. So this is like all the Minecraft story modes on it. It is a Telltale game again as well. I just like Telltale games, and this one has, you know, a cute little story in the Minecraft world. I know I'm a grown adult, maybe a man-child to some. I like Minecraft, and I wanted to check out Minecraft Story Mode on the Nintendo Switch, and it was a neat little game for what it was. It wasn't a complete Minecraft game, but it was still cool to play something set in that universe, so to speak. So yeah. Now we got Monopoly for Nintendo Switch. Good thing I got it on sale, but it's still cheaper to actually go out and buy a Monopoly board. Unless you want to just have one that you can carry with you on your Switch tablet and play with your friends. There's some cool tablet integration and stuff like that. Monopoly's not for everybody, which is why I got this on sale. But yeah, you know, you can play on the go. There's even quicker modes and different, you know, 3D boards and stuff that you can play on. So there's a little bit of variety, a little bit of, you know, content for this game. It is cheaper to go get an actual Monopoly board, but I wanted something that you could sit down and play with people. So that's why I grabbed Monopoly. Monster Jam Crush It. We know this isn't probably a candidate for Game of the Year. I got it as part of a buy two, get one free at GameStop. It's a monster truck racing game. So yeah, I mean, it's average, to be quite honest. It's not the greatest thing out there, and it's dropping in price. So yeah, you know, do not pay full retail for this if you really want it that bad. I can't really say anything other than it's just an average game. It's another filler shovelware type of game on the Switch. It's nothing to go home and write about. I'm probably one of the only people I know that actually owns it. MXGP3 Motocross. I wanted to check this out as well. I got it in the same bundle with Monster Jam Crush It. It's an officially licensed motocross game. There's a lot of different customization and stuff that you can have, like over 300 items for your motocross bikes, 10 different bikes, lots of different, you know, bike riding environments, things like that. Motocross is a lot of fun. I don't believe there is online play though, so that kind of holds a little bit, you know, lower of a score. It's again another average game on the Nintendo Switch. This came out at a time when they were starting to pump up a lot of different games out and stuff and trying to see what sticks, and at the time, you know, I got it pretty cheap. We got NBA 2K18. I didn't get this when it first came out. I waited until I got it for like $10 at GameStop. It's another sports game that I like to play with friends. You know, there's always a nice option. They already have the new ones out and stuff. So this is like the basic standard edition. Didn't come with any extras, no DLC, no paid stuff. They had like 4 different versions of this game. They had like a super gold Shaquille O'Neal edition and stuff. I'm not the biggest, you know, sports guy or the best basketball game player, but I do like to get around the couch every once in a while with some friends and check out sports games. I know it's not for everybody, and plus there ain't no fucking Madden or anything out yet on the Switch. New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. This actually just came out about a month ago. It's a port of the Wii U game, but it has additional new content. It has Peachette. You know, Toadette can wear a crown, turn into Peachette, and it started that whole Bowsette thing. It's, you know, it's neat. Has both Super Luigi U and New Super Mario Bros. U in it. So there's like over 160 stages. You can play up to 4 players at once. So this is a very good couch co-op game. You know, Mario Odyssey 2 did have a little bit of multiplayer, but not enough. I think if you're looking for something to be able to play with your kids or your friends and stuff, this is probably one of the better couch co-op games out there because it's basic Mario. Who does not know how to play basic Mario? And 4 players at once with a variety of different characters and some, you know, I guess handicapping with, you know, characters that have the levels easier for them and stuff. It's easy for everybody to pick up and play together, which I believe this does what Nintendo Switch is supposed to do the best. It's easy to pick up and play anywhere type of game with classic, easy to learn, you know, content. And that's why I like it a lot. I think this is a must-own. Now we have one of the most controversial games of all time, Night Trap. When this first came out on the Sega CD, this pretty much made the ESRB ratings. It came out limited run on Nintendo Switch. I also have it on PS4, so I'm familiar with this game. I've played the PS4 version a lot, so I haven't even opened my Switch version. But Night Trap, you go from camera to camera and try to spring traps on these guys that are basically trying to kidnap and abduct girls and people that are in this house. It's a weird, quirky game. I don't think it's really aged well, but it still has some charm to it. And it's old school styled FMV gameplay, and it It's so nostalgic and so great. And this also has a really cool reversible cover that kind of looks like the Sega CD and all that. So if you want to play some 1990s CD-ROM goodness, get yourself Night Trap. It's probably hard to find, though, because it is a limited run print. So you can get it digitally on the eShop. Oh, my biggest complaint. I love Nintendo Labo. I really fucking do. I have a blast putting these cardboard things together with my nieces and everything. But Nintendo, in all of their fucking genius and glory, made the fucking binding to the game black. So it sticks out like a sore fucking thumb when you have it on your fucking shelf with your games. Why in the blue fuck did Nintendo decide to make it fucking black? Why couldn't they stay uniform and make it red like the rest of them? Did they just want it to be where people can be like, oh, those are the Labo ones. They must be black. Come on. They're labeled. They say Toy-Con 1. We know it's a fucking what it is. But why couldn't we just get it in a decent case? Like, I almost want to make my own and print it to where it will match all the fucking rest of these. That pisses me off. This is the one game in the collection that I'm like, fuck, I haven't even bought more Labo kits just because of it. I don't even know if the other ones are exactly the same, but that's bullshit. It shouldn't be black. Oceanhorn. It's another Zelda clone. It plays like a kind of a miniature Wind Waker. I played it digitally when it came out on limited run for physical run. I knew I had to have it. I had a lot of fun playing this. You go from island to island, exploring, going in caves. It plays like fucking Zelda, in my opinion. I had a lot of fun. It was a mobile port, actually, originally, and then it was on PS4 and other platforms, and then it came over to Nintendo Switch very early on in the Switch's life cycle, and I was like, wow. I was actually really impressed. It was my first time checking Oceanhorn out, and I fell in love with the game. I really fell in love with this fucking game. Now, I'm not a big stickler for RPGs, but I do know when something is a fucking masterpiece, and Octopus Traveller is exactly that. This is old school Square Enix style gameplay at its best. It's a Switch exclusive. It's a must own. Now, I don't know how hard this is to find now. I know it sold out really quickly when it first came out last summer. People went nuts. There's all sorts of different story lines with all the different characters and everything, and it's so much fun. I wish I could sit down and play this more. It's on the back burner to finish, for sure. Has a great, 2D, 3D view that makes everything kind of look like paper dolls and stuff. It's great. This screams late 90s RPG action, and it's a must-own. This is a must-own game on the Switch. Poi Explorer Edition. You're going to laugh, but this is actually a pretty surprising hidden gem. A platform game, 3-platform game for the Switch. It's actually very, very cheap to find, and I think it's underrated. It has a really cartoonish looking style, and it looks like complete crap just looking at it from the cover. But honestly, this game caught me by surprise when I checked it out. It's like a classic 3D platform adventure that you've never played. And if you haven't, do yourself a favor, check it out. It's not going to break the bank. It's very, very cheap. It is a must check out. It's not a must own, but I do recommend that you check out Poi, the Explorer Edition. Portal Knights. I've yet to play this game. I've heard a lot of good things about it. I got it cheap at GameStop pre-owned. It has randomly generated 3D worlds. It's kind of a sandbox action RPG game. You can level up your characters and stuff. There's tactical action combat, random events. There's 2-player split screen. I've heard a lot of good things about it. It's on my backlog. I have not gotten to check it out yet, but I promise I am, and I have a feeling I'm going to like it a lot. All right, so now I have another case of an American version and an import version. When Puyo Puyo Tetris came out on the Switch, it was not in North America for quite some time. It came out in May in Japan, and I bought it. I figured, hey, it's Tetris. How much reading do I need to have? Well, the menus were a little tricky to navigate, but I figured it out, and I reviewed it way early. This was when I wanted to be one of the first ones to check out some of these games before they came over to North America, and I got it. And I got it kind of cheap. One of my buddies helped me import it, and then for some reason in America, This one actually sold for 20 bucks. It went on sale really, really fast. I haven't opened it still. It comes with a keychain. So this is the American version. This is the import version. Puyo Puyo Tetris kind of has like the best of both worlds. You know, if you played Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, you know, Puyo Puyo and Tetris, it kind of has like a crossover collaboration between them. Lots of different modes. It's a very good puzzle game. Now, RBI Baseball. This was the first baseball game on the Switch, and it was crap. It's very bare minimums baseball. They have 18 and 19 is actually coming out, but I haven't had the balls yet to buy, pun intended, buy RBI Baseball 18. Growing up with the NES, I loved the RBI Baseball series. Used to play the crap out of them. So I was excited that RBI was back on the Nintendo consoles, but this game was a little bit of a disappointment. To be honest, the nicest thing about it is that it comes with a hat patch that you can sew onto a hat. That's about it. We got Rayman Legends. This was another port from the Wii U. A great fucking game. If you're looking for a platforming game with some charm, some good little graphics, some good music, lots of unlockables, lots of gameplay modes, then you need Rayman Legends. The Definitive Edition has a new tournament mode that is exclusive to the Switch, has local multiplayer for up to 4 people at once. It's great. Rayman should be in fucking Smash, by the way, also. It's a fucking travesty that he's not. And now, the last one in this row, which I'm probably a little bit more than halfway done with my collection, we got Rhyme. This one, I was disappointed in. I'm not gonna lie. I played it, lots of frame rate issues, lots of slowdown on the Switch version. I don't know how it performed on the PS4 or whatever, but I know that the Switch version had a lot of stuttering problems, and I hated that because this game looked like it had so much charm to it, so much potential to it. I know it has a very emotional story because I completed it. I love the way the graphics look. I just love the whole companion with like a fox being with you and everything. This game let me down. I waited so long just to hold off and play the Switch version. When it finally came out, I was disappointed. Alright, so now we got Retro City Rampage DX. This actually was sold in a limited run as well, but from the developer's website, VBlank, they sold a collector's in standard edition physically. I got this digitally as well. I really love this game. I even have it on PS4 and on the other consoles, you know, the Wii and all that. I basically bought Retro City Rampage multiple times, but when it came out on the Nintendo Switch, it was another title that I wanted to have, and I enjoy it so much. It's like an old school styled GTA game. It's overhead. It has, you know, a lot of homage to 80s and 90s video gaming. Lots of stuff about Back to the Future, the Ninja Turtles, the Mario Brothers, Double Dragon. Any kind of video game or pop culture reference you could think of from the 80s is basically in this one game. It is so great, and there's absolutely no way that you haven't tried this game out. If you have missed out on this game, you need to try it out now. I think it's perfect for play on the Switch because you can take it on the go. If you grew up in the 80s, there's no reason why you have not played this game yet. Alright, we got Rocket League Collector's Edition. I played the fuck out of Rocket League on the PS4. And when it was revealed to be coming out for the Nintendo Switch, I was like, yes! Fucking perfect. Now, the Switch version doesn't run as great as the PlayStation version does, but it's still fun. It's still a lot of fun, especially with the cross-platform play that is now accepted across all of the platforms. You can play against your friends from Xbox and PS4 now. There's absolutely no reason why you can't play with anybody because this game is so easily accessible and you can play it on the go. That's what I like the most about the Switch version. This is race cars with soccer balls. It's a fun little quick sport game. If you want to pick up and play a quick round of Rocket League, it's so much fun to play. Trust me, it's great. It's a good. Saturday Morning RPG Limited Run did a run of this game. It's an RPG game. I have not played it. This is on the backlog. I haven't even opened this yet, but this is on my Nintendo Switch backlog. I've heard so many great things from this. A lot of my good friends have told me to check it out, and I'm just glad I got a copy of it because, you know, it looks badass. It looks like everything I would enjoy. I mean, just look at the cover art itself. You know, it screams fucking fantastic adventure. We got like a fucking dude with a sword, a hot chick, a transformer, and like a G.I. Joe looking motherfucker right there. That's all I need in the game. Sega Genesis Classics, another compilation of some of the greatest hits. There's about 50 games on here. You got Sonic the Hedgehog, Golden Axe, Kid Chameleon. No Green Dog, though. I was kind of wishing Green Dog was on there. But if you grew up with the Sega Genesis, then this is like an essential Genesis collection here. Sure, Sega does this every couple years. They release a new compilation, whatever. But again, there is no Virtual Console on the Nintendo Switch. And this is a good way to knock out 50 of some classic games all on one little package, and it's not even expensive at all. I got it for like $30, so that is a fucking great deal, and it had some of the greatest games of all time are featured on here. So I highly recommend you get the Sega Genesis Classics collection. Shaq Fu got a sequel, and guess what? It came over to the Nintendo Switch. Now I got a free digital version for having NBA Playgrounds. As a consolation prize for that game being asked, they gave a free copy of Shaq Fu. But also, it came out physically. I knew I had to have it. It's a beat-em-up style type of game. I actually like the humor in it, and the graphics aren't too bad either. A lot of people kind of give this game a lot of flack. I think it's just because it's a Shaq Fu game, but I didn't mind it too much, to be quite honest. It actually was really funny. I found myself laughing out aloud a lot of times, and it was way better than the original Shaq Fu. Now I got another game from Super Rare Games. This is Shelter Generations. I have not played it, so I have no idea about it, but it's basically a standalone experience is what it's advertised. You explore the world in the wilds as a cub wolf. So I think it's a very good little artsy narrative style game. It's on my backlog, so I will be checking it out soon. But it's really cool that they sent me this. This was the third one they ever had. So they sent me like the first 3 or 4, and then I missed out on the other ones, and now they're really hard to get. Some of these are being resold very high. Xenomore EX. I had to get this physically. It was cheap, but also because it impressed me very much. I played it for review. It's a shooting game, bullet hell style. Had a lot of fun playing it. It impressed the hell out of me. The level design, the enemies were very fun. The boss fights were fantastic. I'm not too much of a shooter, but when they're good, they are good. And Xenomore EX was one that actually caught my attention very much. And when I saw how cheap it was going physically, I had to get it. I got it on Amazon for like $20. Skylanders Imaginators. Now, I grew up with the Wii, and when the Skylanders game first came out, the first 2 I bought, and I fell hook, line, and sinker into them. I got so many action figures, and I did not want to fall into the trap again, so I didn't buy any Imaginators figures, and it doesn't look like they're making any more Skylanders from here on out. This is probably the last Skylanders game, and the only way to get it is to buy the starter kit for the Nintendo Switch version. I had to get it, and actually I somewhat enjoyed it. It's a 3D platforming game. At the time when this came out, there was not too many standalone single-player games, and this was one of the only ones that you can actually sit down and play a decently single-player mode. So I enjoyed it. I thought it wasn't too bad. It's a shame that the Skylanders series has come to a slow end, but they made a lot of money, right? Alright, so this is my most played game on the Nintendo Switch, Skyrim. I first played Skyrim when it got remastered on PS4 and Xbox One, and I was excited that it was finally coming over to the Nintendo Switch. Being able to play Skyrim on the go, I wasted so many hours on the road, in bed, at the doctor's office, just playing this game. This game is the ultimate time sinker for me. I absolutely love Skyrim. So many great memories, so much just exploration, so much just grinding. This is my favorite Nintendo Switch game, and I know that Skyrim has basically been on everything since it's come out. I'm gonna say it. This is the best Switch game in my opinion. Even though it's a really old port of an old game, I had so much fun playing Skyrim. I absolutely love it. It's my favorite. Slime Son. This is the limited run edition. I also believe there is a cover variant. I'm not sure if there's also availability at Best Buy, but I got the limited run version. Slime Son actually plays a lot like Super Meat Boy. You control a green little cute slime character as you progress through levels. You have to avoid traps that cause instant death. Has a cool little retro aesthetic to it, and it's actually a quite charming, fun game, and it has a lot of unlockables and different customization options and stuff like that. I enjoyed it so much when I saw that it was getting a physical release, I had to get it. Plus, it's a limited run game. Snipper Clips Plus, cut it out. I had to get the physical version of Snipper Clips. This was a very early Switch title, a downloadable eShop title that I had a lot of fun with. It's a great co-op game. You basically control two different characters. They get to cut and shape each other and fit and solve puzzles and stuff. And it's very nerve-wracking. And if you like your friendships, you don't play with somebody that you care about. But it came out later, Snipper Clips Plus, with additional content, additional levels from the DLC and stuff. So I figured, why not? I like the game that much. I wanted to go ahead and give it a go. It's good. Not enough people talk about Snipper Clips. SNK Heroines, Tag Team Frenzy. It's a fighting game. Features a lot of characters from the SNK series and female versions of some of the most classic SNK characters. It's alright for a fighting game. The story kind of sucks. It's basically a whole bunch of big boobed anime looking chicks fighting in a big mansion. I zoomed through it. It's a 2 versus 2 fighting game featuring SNK characters, and there's a lot of waifus and stuff in here. I mean, we know exactly why people like this game. We know, right? SNK 40th Anniversary Collection, another compilation of games. There is actually a good assortment of titles on here. Athena, Crystallis, Ikari Warriors. It's very good. If you want some classic retro-style games that are actually very faithful ports to the originals, go ahead and get it. You got Time Soldiers on here, I believe. It's a very good collection of SNK games. I would like something like, more Neo Geo, Metal Slug type of games on the Switch available in a compilation. But those are available through the arcade archives. But I was like, you know what? I'm a sucker for these retro games, and I'm going to go ahead and grab it. So I did. Soul Dam Drop, Connect, Erase. It's a puzzle game. It's pretty standard. Has cute little characters and everything. I got it on the reel for pretty cheap. You're able to rotate, the fruit. You match by colors and stuff. There's really, if you've played a puzzle game, you'll be able to play Soul Dam. It's a weird name, though, right? And it's kind of weird. I really don't see this game anywhere. I don't know how hard to find it is or anything. But it does have online, and it has 2-player couch co-op, so it's a puzzle game that you can play with friends. Sonic Forces Bonus Edition. This came with like a bonus skin for like your controller and stuff. Has a lot of different in-game items to customize your guys, but it's a Sonic game that features the ability to create your own original Sonic character. So many people's Sonic Chews and Chris Chans of the world finally get to create their characters for Sonic Forces. A lot of people did not like this game. This game was met with mixed results. I personally liked it, to be quite honest. I had a lot of fun checking out Sonic Forces. Was it a great Sonic game? No, it wasn't, but it actually surpassed my expectations. Had a decent story. The levels, hit or miss, but for the most part, it was an okay Sonic game. It's not too bad, and you can get it actually quite cheap now. Now we have South Park, the featured Butthole. It's an RPG sequel to The Stick of Truth. Honestly, hilarious. Lots of fun. I have not completed this game yet. I've played a little bit of it. It's superhero themed. You create your own South Park character and you interact with some of the most popular and famous characters of the South Park franchise. And I was glad that they brought it over to the Nintendo Switch. It has a lot of crude South Park humor. It's hilarious. It's very lengthy. I enjoy it. It's a very good game. And it goes on sale a lot. In fact, I got this for like $29. So it's a no-brainer. If you want a good RPG style game that has a lot of humor in it, grab South Park, The Fractured Butthole. You won't regret it. Splatoon 2. So many updates, just like the original Splatoon. So much content. So many multiplayer modes online. This is probably the best online Switch game. and I love it. Splatoon is crazy. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. The whole purple and pinks and greens and just childlike characters kind of throw some people off. If you haven't played Splatoon, you're missing out. It's a great game. I can sink so much time and hours into it. And it does suck that it's more online based than anything, because eventually one day you're really not going to be able to play the game. But it does have some single player campaigns. And I'm glad they didn't just take Splatoon from the Wii U and port it over. They added a lot of new stuff. And it's really, really enjoyable. For real. Like, this is probably a top 5 Switch game for me. Starlink Battle for Atlas, just like Skylanders, is a game where you have toys. Starlink Battle for Atlas, just like Skylanders, this game has toys. In fact, it comes with a R-Wing for the Nintendo Switch version because there's exclusive Star Fox content on here. And honestly, that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to get Starlink, because I'm such a big Star Fox fan. I was that desperate to play some Star Fox that I got Starlink, and unfortunately it doesn't seem like the game did too well because it actually has gone on sale and dropped incredibly in price. But for what it wasn't too bad. You know, the Star Fox stuff was pretty cool, and they're going to be adding some new updates, actually. They just announced it not too long ago on some Nintendo Direct with, Star Fox updates. So that's always good that they're showing support for it, at least. Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection. It's another compilation. This one literally has every version of Street Fighter on here. It has the original Street Fighter, everything of Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter Alpha, Street Fighter 3. It's great. It has 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 different games on here. So another way to play classic games. Again, Capcom bringing the fucking heat with some of its fucking franchises. I'm a big Street Fighter fan. I may not be that great at it, but come on, online modes with every type of game, updates. It's a compilation of some of the greatest, most classic fighting games of all time. This is definitive right here. They did good by making this. Super Bomberman R. Now, when this game initially came out, I was underwhelmed with it. I'm not the biggest Bomberman fan, but this was a launch title alongside Legend of Zelda. And they actually have been adding updates to it, like Castlevania-type themed characters and stuff like that. There's a lot of multiplayer type of modes, online play, local play. So I kind of didn't give the game a fair shake when it first came out, but now that they've added a lot of stuff to it, it is worth checking out. Super Mario Odyssey, probably, right next to Skyrim, the other best game on the Nintendo Switch. I was amazed. This has probably every making of the most masterpiece classic Super Mario game of all time. Whatever you like in Galaxy, Sunshine, and 64, all rolled up into one right here. Fucking phenomenal. If you have not played this, if this is not in your Switch collection, I have no idea why you even have a Nintendo Switch. I've laughed, I cried, I shed tears, and I clapped. I gave this game a fucking standing ovation when I was done with it. So Super Mario Odyssey, you already know it's good. Super Meat Boy, this actually is a limited run game, but it was not sold on their website. It was only sold at Best Buy as a pre-order. I've played it before on Steam, on Xbox. You literally control a little Super Meat Boy through levels that have big ass saws and obstacles and stuff to rescue your girlfriend. And I heard a lot of things about the Switch version not being good because the music sucks in it, but I like the game. Look at this adorable character. I had to get it. Come on. Bandage Girl, she's cute. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, the biggest game release of this last year. So much fanfare behind it. I'm not the biggest Smash fan, but I do know that this is the best Smash game. Adult Link is my character. He's my main. I had a lot of fun. I've actually played this a lot more than any other Smash Brothers game. The GameCube one was my most favorite at the time, but now this one is the definitive. I'm so glad they brought this out. Every single character in Smash history is available. So many unlockables, more unlockables than ever before. Great online play, great community. It's already making it big in some of the biggest tournaments in the world. So if you want to do online play on the Switch besides Splatoon, grab Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Do I have to tell you guys that this is a must-have? Do I really have to sit down and tell you guys that? You're not dumb. The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. This game is weird. It's another Nicholas game, so it comes with a lot of extras and stuff. It's weird. It has a lot of poo-poo and caca and evil stuff, and you play as a little boy named Isaac, and you basically go down a dungeon that's randomly generated. It's a roguelike, so you die, the game starts over, and you play in a new thing. And it seemed like when this came out, every other game on the Switch was a fucking roguelike and difficult. Like Has Been Heroes, this one, Tumbleseed. It seemed like everything was a fucking roguelike, and this one was no exception to the rule. But this one's also really, really good. This is one of the better indie titles out there, and I was glad that it did get a physical release. There's also a cover variant where it's like blue and he has like angel's wings and stuff, but I got the launch edition. So I recommend it. I like it. The End Is Nigh, another Nicholas game that has, you know, those weird, wacky characters and unlockables and stuff, and, you know, good stuff in it. This one plays a lot like Super Meat Boy in that you have to carry a character through levels without dying, and you just have to rinse and repeat and trial and error and stuff. It's very zany. I like it. It's cute. And, you know, it was made by the guys from Binding of Isaac. Flame in the Flood. So this was a game that I actually played on Xbox. Super Rare Games gave it a release on the Switch physically. You play as a character who has like a dog. You ride in a raft across a flooded area, and you land on different little islands and stuff, gathering different items and objects and stuff. It's kind of like a survival-based game. The goal is to make it down the river as far as you can and survive. And it's actually a really neat little game. I played the fuck out of it on Xbox One, so when I saw that it was on Switch, I was really happy. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. What can I say? Fucking instant classic. Instant masterpiece. Zelda's my most favorite franchise of all time. And I picked this up day one. Played the fuck out of it. The additional Ballad of Champions DLC. Fucking phenomenal. So much fun. This is a pure classic. This one actually, like, almost everybody and their mother owns this if you own a Switch. So I would be very surprised if you've reached this far in the Switch's lifespan and have not even played this or at one point owned it. I would be very, very fucking surprised. This is easily Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, Skyrim, top 3 Switch games, in my opinion. There's not enough that I could say about Breath of the Wild that doesn't give me goosebumps just talking about it. Lego Ninjago, the video game. Another Lego game. Plays just like the other, except this is Ninjago themed. You control a whole bunch of different, you know, ninja warriors and stuff. There's actually some pretty cool cutscenes and action scenes in here. I had a lot of fun checking this out. I've played it on stream a couple times. Didn't do a proper review of it ever, but, I mean, one Lego game is like the others, right? The Longest 5 Minutes, a cute little indie RPG game. At the beginning of the game, you're facing a final boss, and then just before you kill him, he kind of, you forget everything, and you kind of backtrack and find your memories and stuff. So it's like the longest 5 minutes ever. It's a retro Neo type of indie game. Has a lot of callbacks and homages and parody of classic RPG types of games and stuff. And it's not too expensive either, so I knew I had to have it. It's a really quirky indie game. I enjoy it. Tiny Barbarian DX, another Nicholas game. It's a 2D retro style type of game. It has old school gameplay, variety of different episodes in it, and of course, you know, with the Nicholas games, it has a lot of little extras and stuff in the box. They really pack these suckers in. I think it's pretty cool. It's a run and jump style type of platform and adventure. There's a lot of bosses and enemies to kill in it. It's a lot of fun. It's very kind of arcadey, and I recommend it. It's a good. Nicholas publishes so many great little indie games, and I fucking just get all of them. Oh my god. One of the worst Switch games of all time, Troll and I. When it first came out, I was like, oh wow, this looks neat. And I avoided reviews. People told me, they warned me. They're like, Eric, watch out. This game sucks. I even went as far as to say I was recommending it for February when it came out, or whenever this game came out. I was disappointed. So many glitches, so much bad frame rate. I didn't even finish after chapter 1 of this game. I just completely gave up. Never put it back in my Switch again. I don't even want to try to attempt. If they patched it ever, updated it, I don't even know. It had so much promise. And it was just a big disappointment. One of the worst Switch games ever. Touhou Kabuto Burst Battle. It's a fighting-looking anime game with some cute girls. The Touhou girls, I guess. It's like bullet hell battles and stuff. I haven't played much of it. Again, I'm not a big anime guy, but the reason why I have it is because I bought it for like $18 on GameFly. It was on sale. I figured, why not? I don't have it. For the most part, it is pretty cheap, pre-owned. I mean, if you're into this type of stuff, I'm not. At the time, I was just getting whatever. Thimbleweed Park, a limited run release. I got it digitally as well when it first came out. What captured my attention of this game is that it looks a lot like, some of the old point-and-click LucasArts games like Maniac Mansion and Skull Island and stuff. I like these type of games, and this one's so weird. It's a callback and homage to games of yesteryear. It's a very, very beloved video game, and I was happy to see that this was going to get a physical release because it's a great fucking game. Like, this is one of the best indie games on the Nintendo Switch. If you like these type of old school type of games, you will not be disappointed with Thimbleweed Park. Now, when I first played Thumper, it was on the HTC Vive, so I played it on VR. It also came out on PS4. And then now it was out on the Switch. I played it. I got a review copy of it digitally, but then I saw that Limited Run was doing a release of it, so just like all the other ones, that's the main reason why. It has a cool holographic cover, but to be honest, I'm not a big fan of the gameplay. You basically control like a metallic-looking beetle on a rail, and you have to do correct rhythm and button presses at the same time to progress through the stage, and it gets old real quick, to be honest. I don't think it's that great. Now we have Ultra Street Fighter 2. When this was first announced, I was excited because it had two new characters, Evil Ryu and Violent Ken, and it was like the newest edition of Street Fighter 2 in like over 20 years. So I was like, holy crap. They updated Street Fighter 2. They had the balls to update Street Fighter 2. When this first came out, 30th anniversary wasn't even a thought at the time. So some people were underwhelmed with it, but I liked it. It had online play. You could switch between HD graphics or the old school arcade looking graphics. So I had a lot of fun. I mean, I'm a basic bitch when it comes to my Street Fighter. So this did the job for me. Next up, we have Wild Guns Reloaded. I'm not sure if this is a GameStop exclusive or not, but it is still pretty cheap. I know back when it was on PS4, it kind of was a little hard to find. Thankfully, it's not for the Nintendo Switch. It plays just like the classic Wild Guns. It's the same port as the PS4 one. It's an arcade style type of game in the Western age. You kind of control a character and you shoot at objects on screen and stuff. So it's a shootout type of game. It's a lot of fun. A lot of people like Wild Guns. I don't have the Super Nintendo version, but I do have both this one and the PS4 version, so why not? Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus. I believe I had this on Xbox. I'm not entirely sure or not. At this point, I get confused. But when I saw it was coming over to the Nintendo Switch, I was excited. I think Bethesda did a great job with Doom and Skyrim being on the Switch, so I had to get the trifecta, the Holy Trinity. And it's a pretty gory game. For being on the Nintendo Switch, there's a lot of stuff that I was like, holy crap, they left that in on this game. And who doesn't love Wolfenstein? And they did this is proof that games like Wolfenstein and modern games can be on the Switch if developers are, stop being lazy. So good. This is a good. Now, this is probably the worst Nintendo Switch game, WWE 2K18. So bad, they didn't even make a 2K19. They didn't even bother. Worst frame rate ever. Virtually unplayable. Nobody gives a shit about this. It even got an update, and it was still bad. Do not waste your time on this. Do not be tempted if you find it cheap. Stay the fuck away from WWE 2K18 on the Switch. If I was Seth Rollins, I'd be pissed to be on this cover. Last but not least, my last game, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I know they made an updated version with additional content on it. Okay, we all know I wasn't really impressed with Xenoblade Chronicles 2. It didn't mean that I didn't like it. I played a lot of it. I had a lot of fun with it. It just was not my cup of tea. I enjoyed Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Wii U. I played the fuck out of that. I live streamed that for hours, for like weeks. I would like a port of Xenoblade Chronicles X, but this is not bad. It's a huge, expansive, single player experience, a good RPG, lots of exploration elements and stuff. Just wasn't my cup of tea, but I do know that a lot of people like it. Maybe I'll give it a second chance. Who knows? Oh, fuck me. So I managed to get all these Switch games fucking shown in this video. This is a long video, so I thank you. If you've toughed it out through this whole video, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I hope you learned some new information about some of these games. If you want to aware what is available physical, or if you just wanted to see some information and video about some of these games, I'm glad I helped you out. Please give this video a thumbs up. It took a lot of work and effort to put it together. And if you're new to the channel, throw a subscription. I appreciate everybody supporting me throughout the years, watching this channel, helping it grow. I know I'm not the most popular or best Switch content creator out there. I don't try to be. I know I'm friends with some people and I get accused of being a clone of them and stuff like that. But for real, I really love this system and I just want to have fun making content. And this is a video that I really wanted to do. So I do appreciate you if you've stuck through and check this video out. So thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you on the next year when I do another update video. Peace out.